Okay, hello everyone. It's great to have you all on board. It's another time with Tutor IL, the Fantastic Tutor. And in today's tutorial, it happens to be the continuation of POL 301. It's been an interesting one. It has to do with the research work, all right, of the course, all right, of the department of political science. And so far, we've been able to dissect a lot of things on the said topic. All right. So today, we're going to be continuing where we stopped in our last class. I believe you all can hear me. Okay. I think I just confirmed the audio. And the audio is perfect. Now, let's go straight into it. According to the thumbnail, we are taking it up from what it means by literature search. Wonderful. Good afternoon. Oh, the comment section is even buzzing already. I have Mrs. Regina says, "Good afternoon, sir. Yes, we can hear you. Wonderful. Thank you for the confirmation, ma." I have Miss Sasha says, "Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, Miss Sasha. Good afternoon, Mrs. Regina." Not Bed of Roses says, "Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Standing by also." So let's just go straight. Oh, Miss Immaculate and Miss Day says, "Hello, hello. Hi. It's all great to have you on board." Now let's talk about literature search. Okay, according to Fagbogbe in 1993, literature search can also be referred to as literature review. Okay, either way, you can refer to it as literature search. We may as well refer to it as literature review. So now, according to Fagbogbe in 1993, he says literature review is seen, all right, we can look at it from the point of a critical evaluation, a critical evaluation of past but effective, all right, past but relevant works to the research under study. Past but relevant work to the research under study. You know, if it happens to be 99 out of 100 cases, though, whereby you are working on a project um, directly or indirectly, this project has been introduced by an individual or an institution before you. All right, yours might be a little bit different. All right, it might be so different, but what I'm trying to say here is that there's nothing new under the sun. All right, anything you are introducing is either, all right, anything you are introducing is not even a case of either. Anything you are introducing has existed. What you're just doing is either improving, all right, or remodernizing. When we talk about being existent, or when we talk about the existence of any problem you are trying to prefer, solution you are trying to prefer, or problem you are trying to solve, it has been in existence. So you can reach out to people or materials or resources in line with your own study, whereby you can get helpful and precise, concentrated information, data, all right, that you can use in guiding your own decision, guiding your own research, and achieving what needs or what needed to be achieved. There, we talk about literature search or literature review. Okay, like Fagbongbe in 1993 has confirmed that When we talk about literature review, all right, we are simply referring to that critical, all right, evaluation of past, okay, critical evaluation of past, but relevant. Even though it is past, it is still very relevant in the sense that it is useful to your research work. So it is relevant to your research work. Okay, past but relevant works of the research under study with a view of identifying areas of convergence and divergence in past, all right, of such past work. Okay, so we have that as that. Now let's continue. Okay, now Hassan in 1995 also said something. Okay, Hassan in 1995. Hassan also made his, all right, notable contribution. All right, Hassan said that literature review is an essential step in research activity. All right, essential step in research activities. An essential step. Now, he said it is a process involving the systematic identification, location, and analysis of documents. Documents containing information. These informations are relevant to the research problem. Informations that are relevant. These documents are containing informations that are relevant to the research problem areas of interest. Okay, so let's just take a few more points on that and we can move forward. So, according to Hassan in 1995, it's an essential step in research activity. What makes it so essential? All right, what makes it essential is that this process involves the systematic identification. So it's not just good to identify, and even to identify, you need to be systematic about it. All right, it is a systematic identification. A systematic identification, all right, location, analysis, location, analysis, I think location, analysis of docs containing relevant information to the research. Let's just leave that RW, the research work. Okay, so we have that as that. Now, some of the purpose, by now we should understand the purpose already. All right, but just to make mention of these purposes. Okay, so I'm just going to adjust the camera a little bit. I can see that it's not covering all, some space are left out. So I'm just going to adjust it a little bit. Uh-huh. I think I should take it back a little bit still. Yeah, I think it's better now. The whole board is well covered. I think it's better now. Okay, so that is of literature review. Okay, the all and sundry of literature review. Okay, so we have that as that. And just to mention but a few, some of the purposes of literature are to determine what has already been carried out in the past that relates to the problem of study. All right, to enable the researcher to clarify underlying process, ideas, and findings. All right, just to mention but a few. So let's continue. Now we have the scope of literature review. What is the scope of literature review? Now, when we talk about the scope of literature review, we are simply referring to, all right, the fact that literature review can be divided into various sections, as the researcher's justification for understanding the study. So now we are looking at it from the angle of the division or the dividing of literature review into different sections, helping the researcher justify its understanding of the study. In order to what? The order which the review of the relevant quality material should be followed. All right. Now we have conceptual definition of variable. So in order to help the researcher understand to justify its understanding, all right, the literature review, all right, relevant qualitative materials, talking about quantity, qualitative, should follow the following: conceptualized definition, all right, problems with identification. We have explanation, underlying theories, innovations to current future research, all right, and we have data stats. So now, what are we talking about here in essence? When we okay, you're live again. That was the thing for the network. So now, as I was explaining, the the scope of research review, right? It is the process of reviewing, all right, quantitative material. The process of reviewing quantitative, I beg your pardon, not, it should be qualitative, not quantitative, qualitative. Okay, qualitative materials. The process of reviewing qualitative materials. Now, when we talk about reviewing qualitative materials, we are saying that whatever material you are reviewing, you should have this basic understanding, all right, behind, you should have behind your mind, you have the basic understanding when you are reviewing these materials. Conceptualize definitions of the variables of issues of interest. All right. The problems with identification, observing, or measuring the variables or issues, your material should be able to provide you pointers to this. Further explanation on the importance of further explanation of the importance or usefulness, all right, of variables, how variables can provide further importance and usefulness, and as well underlying theories that explains the important role or functions of the variables. These are just to mention but a few. So let's go straight to what we have here. There's something called systemizing the research. Okay, systemizing the research. Now, various steps that are involved in the process of carrying out literature review. When we talk about systemizing the research, we are simply referring to the processes involved in carrying out literature review. Now, one of the processes is defining the research problem, the very first step. When you are systemizing the research, by identifying the process required in carrying out literature review. First, you must define the research problem. Secondly, give an outline of the theme and sub-theme. When we say theme, you can refer it as topic sentence. You remember just 101, talk about topic sentence of a particular paragraph. So here you must also outline the theme and the sub-theme. Researchers has to break the problem into manageable units. That's why you have to identify the theme and the sub-theme. All right, you have to break that problem down into what we call manageable units, or it needs to convert the problem statements into keywords or terms that can easily be identified in the subject matter or preliminary sources. What are we talking about here? Break it down, make it simple, make it understandable, make it easy to comprehend. All right, with that out of the way, solution is fast approaching. Thirdly, identify material to view. Now that you've been able to define the research problem, all right, outline the theme and sub-theme, then what you should be looking out for next should be identifying the material you want to view. Excuse me. Now, identifying material for view, having identified the theme or the keywords of the topic, the researcher has to seek for materials that are relevant to the problem. That is the third stage. Fourth stage, after you have identified the material, now you need to search for relevant titles and abstracts from the materials you've been able to review. And after that, reading and locating primary source documents. All right, so the material should be able to point you to source documents that you can use for your research. And lastly, abstract writing the reports. You've been able to gather all what you need. Then you need to begin to put your points together. All right, and make it holistic, pointing at how the problem will be solved. Are we together? Okay. Can we all hear me? I think, okay. The board is not, is it not? I think it's fair enough this way. I just before a little bit. Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much for that confirmation, Ma. So now let's proceed. This week we must finish this course. Nothing will stop us from not finishing this course this week. Now there's something called theoretical framework. By next week, we are starting a different course entirely. When we say theoretical framework, we are talking about reviews that form the background of an ongoing study. All right. Theoretical reviews of framework give a study impetus and a firm foundation to take off. Also act as a guide towards meaningful contribution, all right, of the research work. One thing we must hold on to here is that theoretical review, all right, is that review that forms, or theoretical framework is that framework, all right, that forms the background background of an ongoing study. Forms the background of an ongoing study, which are essential parts of literature review. All right. But the point here is it forms the background. It's more like a foundation on which literature review rests or lies upon. All right. Look at what it says here. Pay attention. It says it gives a study impetus, a firm foundation to take off. That means theoretical framework gives a study a firm foundation. Please let's note that theoretical review gives a study firm foundation to take off and also act as a guide towards meaningful contribution of research work. So we have that as that. Now, the significance of theoretical review are seen in the fact that it reviews some already known theories that gives the present, all right, that give the present study a pedestal to take off. Now, this theoretical framework is simply talking about the fact that your study needs to acknowledge certain theories, all right, in order for your research work to have a footing, in order for it to be reckoned with, it must not be totally out of the blue. It must not be totally out of context. Like I said, nothing is new. You are either developing what has been, or you are what we call it pimp. You pimp, or let's say you okay, I've used developed, all right, or you are upgrading. So you need to use theories that are already known. Theories that are already known to back up your research work. And this is where theoretical review or theoretical framework comes in. It gives your study that foundation it needs to take off. All right. So we have that as that. Now, let's continue. Our time is fast spent. We should be wrapping up with things any moment from now. So I need to prepare for the next class. Okay. So now, okay. Now let's quickly look at ethics in political science research. Ethics in political science research. There are some ethics that needs to be observed, all right, there are some ethics that need to be observed when conducting research in the field of political science. Other field might not acknowledge these ethics, but more as soon as in as much as political science um, is involved, these ethics must be paid attention to. All right. So some of these ethics are in political research, in political science research, there are unethical behaviors a researcher should avoid. All right. And these unethical behaviors are the likes of fraud, okay, the likes of plagiarism, all right, the likes of redundant publication, the likes of data fabrication, the likes of bias. So those are the unethical, all right, behavior or unethical things a researcher must avoid by all costs when conducting political science research. Okay, so likewise, there are ethical principles. Now that we know what to avoid, so what are the ethical principles that you need to acknowledge? The likes of veracity or the avoidance of deception. They ought to tell the truth and keep the promises. All right. The research work must not be deceptive. It must not be misleading. Okay. Your research work must be, all right. We have what we call privacy or autonomy. Individuals have the right to limit access information about them. All right. So you don't push it, you don't force it. If certain individuals or respondents refuse to give out certain information, note that. All right. We also have beneficence or avoidance of harm. All right. Researcher ought to seek to do good, all right, rather than cause harm. So we'll call it wrap here for today. And in our next class, we'll be talking about the professional code of conduct. All right. The professional code of conduct will be taken up from there. Although that might not be the topic. The topic will be political data analysis. But we'll take it up from the professional conduct. And in our next class, we'll talk about that. Thank you very much, everyone. So I'm hoping that in the next class, we can finish with this course entirely. We can call it a wrap with the course entirely. By next week, we are doing something else entirely. So thank you very much. And on this note, call it a wrap here for today. Do have a wonderful evening and bye for now.